The cost of 40K, much like any hobby, can be quite high. Now, it's a hobby. It's something that we tend to put money into to indulge our sense of creativity, looking for entertainment, or in some cases, simply looking for a community or socializing. There are many things that we do a hobby for. And one of the things that we've always had as a debate or a conversation, no matter the hobby, is the cost. The cost of the tools, the cost of the materials, the cost in time, patience, knowledge, brain power, all of those things. And I thought it would be interesting. Now, I consider myself fairly old. Not the oldest dog in the hobby, but a fairly old dog in that regard. And that gives me a little bit of perspective. Now, I've talked about the quality of models, the what you're getting, the bang for your buck, the amount you're getting, the cost rises, the if I think that they're actually trying to do their best to actually earn your money, all of those things. And I had people react negatively, positively, not care, the whole nine. But I think it's interesting to take that perspective of time and apply it to things. I have spent countless hours on this hobby and many others. Now, I do it because I enjoy the creative outlet. I do it because I enjoy talking to people and seeing what they've done. It's why I always ask. It's not for interaction, it's because I'm legitimately curious about what people are doing, even if I don't like a certain thing. And hobbies are a fantastic way for us to venture into things, to find ways to decrease our stress, to help people with socializing, and all of those fun, healthy things. But I've always come back to the cost. Now, cost is different to everyone else. It's a relative thing to many people, and it means various things to various folks. So I have always broke it down between time, how much you need to know, and money. Now, time is the interesting one, especially when you get into hobbies when you're younger. You tend to have a lot more time, especially before you've really entered the workforce or had a family or any of those burdens or things that you need to legitimately take care of come into place. You tend to have a lot of time, so you don't value the hobby in terms of the time investment like someone who has a family, who has kids, who has a full-time job, who has other responsibilities, who looks at the time more so than the money as the big hurdle to a hobby. And it's where you see people's priorities and taste shift in a lot of cases. Why a lot of times for older folks, I mean, in the middle place between when you're not working or you're retired and before you really get into the workforce. For a lot of those folks, something quick and easy and they don't have to put a large investment into it is something that a lot of people find appealing. Whereas people with a lot of time will oftentimes be more interested in something more complex or takes more involvement or all of those fun things, but might have a problem with the monetary cost. Whereas later, people have a problem with time and in some cases, the money. So I've always thought it was an interesting thing because people never, ever, ever talk about the cost of hobbies like 40K. Now, I would say that 40K is a very cost heavy game, and it didn't always used to be. It was more of a kind of an optional thing. You could be tepid in a way and still play 40K. Not competitively, not like the best people around, but you could play it. Now it seems to be hungry for not only just your money and ever increasingly your money, but more so your time between the books, the rules, the buying this unit and equipping them with these things, and it becoming more and more and more of this kind of like esports style tournament game. The more it has kind of just eaten into people, the more you have to know in terms of the whole gotcha kind of element of it. the more time you have to invest because you need to be more aware of more rules, the more money you have to invest because now it's even more expensive than it was before because it's even more dependent on the whims of the rules than it used to be. Now you don't just play a unit for fun, you have to play a particular unit if you want to have fun. You know the difference if you've been there. Now, I'm still a stubborn goat. I'll still play what I want, but there's a lot of people that go, I don't want to buy something that's just not going to be fun to play. And then you have all of the other elements. Well, what if you like playing the game, you want to know the rules, and you want to be involved in the hobby elements of painting and modeling and all of that fun? All of those elements, you then start investing emotional value or cost into it. You become attached to what you're playing. So you have a time sink, an emotional sink, a money sink. And yes, time equals money, but I think that not enough people talk about those elements. And as we move forward, and especially with 10th edition, all I see it as a sink. It sucks up time, it sucks up money. And I see people who are increasingly going, I just want to play a game. I don't want to play a game that turns into Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't want to play a game where I no longer have any real investment in my army because I'm told what they're using. I'm told what they can. I can't make up my own stories with it. And I think as the cost becomes more of a burden, as the time becomes more of a burden, as they remove your ability to impress yourself on your army and create your own stories and invest in that emotional way on it, you sap away at what people really want to be involved in. The more folks just go, well, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, and I sure as hell am not going to invest my emotional value or want onto it on a game that in generally is not going to really put any value on it. I'm not going to be making my own chapter. I'm not going to be making my own Imperial Guard unit. I'm just playing Imperial... I'm just playing one of the things set before me. Yeah, you can go and say, oh, well, they just happen to work in that style. Yeah. But the game increasingly puts before you, don't do that. Don't do that. Well, don't do these things. It just becomes more of a burden on all of those accounts. It's more time. It's more money. It's more investment of yourself into it. And I think that what they really need to do is dial it back. But this is the reason we've seen the rise of countless videos of how to get the best value out of this box, how to use 3D printing to make more out of this box, how to customize these monopostings. It's the reason why if you look at 40K, there's a good chance you're going to see videos talking about how to bleed the best amount of value or to how to actually do something personalized on units, because they continue to remove the ability to invest in those things, and they replace that ability for you to invest of yourself into it with an ability to invest an ever-increasing amount of time on things that you need to keep chasing down and trying to think that you're ahead of, and in an ever-increasing amount of money to the point where it really makes it harder for people. A lot of people look at it like a really steep hill and go, why would I want to climb that hill? Why would I want to take all of that and climb this hill when I could just go up the stairs? When I could just go and take that same amount of money and invest it in a game unit or a good gaming PC or Lord knows what else. And I think that the argument increasingly becomes harder and harder to make. And I wish more people would talk about this element, not just the cost, which I have fallen into that trap multiple times, but I'm going to talk more about the time it takes to be involved in this hobby. The more that it requires you to invest yourself to get just a small element of character that you want and your own creativity on those things. So I'm going to be doing that more, and let me know. Do you think people touch on these topics enough, or do they just not get talked about enough, or are people, in a way, unwittingly talking about it without realizing it? Let me know what you think, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.